Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I bring you greetings from the government and the people of Sierra Leone, and I'm really excited to be here today. I want to thank um, the Charles for inviting me to this official launch of the Enzi Ijayo Africa Initiative. We've heard a lot of conversations over the past couple of days. Some of them are great, but I would agree with Dr. Simu here that it's nice to talk, but you know what we need are actions so that translate all of these nice speeches and conversations, so that we get on a path to where countries like Sierra Leone can have universal access to energy. Because for us, what matters is over the course of time, we can actually see action. We can see that our people have access to energy, and that they're using this energy to improve their lives and their livelihoods. Um, I wouldn't talk much about energy transition, because energy transition assumes that you actually have the energy to make the transition. in, you know, in some of our countries, you know, we're not at the transition stage yet. Uh, Maybe if you're talking in terms of cooking, because a lot of the energy and fuel that we use for cooking is comes from wood or coal, which as a minister of environment is alarming to me because there's a lot of deforestation um, that is caused because our primary source of energy is for cooking is wood and coal. Uh, so in that area, in Sierra Leone, we are working on transition, introducing clean cooking technology. Stoves that use less wood or coal, which not only help me as a minister in terms of reducing the deforestation, as the Ministry of Environment embarks on planting trees, it also has health benefits because the cooking here now has emits less smoke, and that smoke inhalation is a huge health risk to people, especially our women, our aunties, our mothers, our sisters who do most of the cooking in our part of the world. Energy, you know, our energy consumption is low in Africa, um, but as one of the speakers mentioned, it, you can't just say Africa as a whole. There's some countries that have high energy consumption, and then you have countries like ours where energy consumption is very low. Uh, so for that reason, I stay away from the transition talk. You know, for me and for Sierra Leone, what we need is energy production. Now, we want to produce energy, um, and we need to produce energy. The challenge is that if Sierra Leone government decides today that we want to put a 300 megawatt coal power plant, uh, our friends will come and say, no, 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 don't do that. um, that's just bad for the environment. Um, we're moving to renewable energy. Uh, but yet we see when, other the same friends are constrained because their energy sources are being cut off. They're quick to fire up their power plants. Um, they're coal-fired power plants. Now, what does that mean? That means that you know you we want energy. You're constraining us from using the cheapest source of energy, and there's no money really to transition to this renewable energy. Um, and that is something that we need to address. Now, the announcement yesterday by the UAE that there's a funding for 15 gigawatts of power in Africa is quite encouraging, and we are hoping that we can tap into that. However, there are challenges on our side, and there are things that we need to do to be able to fully utilize that sort of opportunity. Because with these sort of projects, you need to be frank. Like there's no point in us generating 500 megawatts of energy when we can't really evacuate it because we have dilapidated transmission and distribution lines. So we need to be frank ourselves, and we need to be frank when we're having these conversations. That it's great that you want to give us this energy, but can we talk T&D also? Not just so we can, you know, we don't just want to generate the energy because you generate it and you can't transmit it. What it ends up being a further burden on government. But if you can transmit it and you reduce the losses, you have lines, there's very little theft, people are willing to pay for it. Like no one wants to be in the dark. You'd be surprised how people get used to having energy the minute they start having access to it. It's like the telephone. A few decades ago, people thought Africa was not a place for where you should invest in communications. Until Mo Ibrahim started launching Celtel in countries all across the continent. And before you know it, I can be anywhere in the world and call my aunt in the village, and we can have a conversation. And today, you know, anywhere on the continent, people have their mobile phones. Same thing with energy. In my little village in Sierra Leone, the first energy project that was deployed there was 4 or 5 years ago. If you go there now, you would think that these people have had power all their lives. An outage, and you would hear all sorts of complaints, like, why the power isn't there. And they're willing and ready to pay for it. So when, the narrative in the past has been that, well, Africa is not, people can't afford energy, people can't afford to pay for power. I don't think that's the case. I mean, my practical experience has been that energy is one of those things. Once people start using it, they only want more. They want more. They want more. You start with a light bulb, so that it's not dark at night. The next thing you know, people want the TV, they want the fridge, the freezer, and as their standards of living improve, you know, everyone wants the same nice things to live a comfortable life. But as governments, uh, in countries like Sierra Leone, we also, are looking at ourselves and need to have frank conversations on how do we increase access to energy, given some of the things that we have heard here, and how do we leverage the announcements, the conversations that we've had here to bring meaningful changes in our countries and make sure that we keep increasing the access to energy. And that's not an easy task. It's work. Um, we're hoping organizations like Ijayo can help us as we navigate that path. We are open to having these frank conversations, and we are looking to collaborate with organizations, other African countries that can help us as we go along this journey. So, congratulations to you for launching this. I wish you every success, and I look forward to working with you. Thank you.